بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It is one of the greatest hadiths of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, and it was reported by both Bukhari and Muslim, which grades it as one of the most authentic hadiths ever. And this hadith was narrated by Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that there are 7 whom Allah Azza wa Jal would shade in His shade on the Day of Judgment, where there is no shade other than His. And if you look at the concept of the Day of Judgment, you'd find that people do need shade. And the Prophet tells us ﷺ that the sun draws so close from people that they sweat due to the heat. And they sweat in accordance to their deeds. So those who had done well, their sweat would reach their ankles. Those who were not as good, their sweat would reach their knees, their waists. And those who did not do so well, they would be in their sweat up to their mouths. So it is needed for us, it is essential for us to have this shade on the Day of Judgment. So who are these 7? And can we qualify? The Prophet says ﷺ, there are 7 whom Allah will shade with His shade on the day when there will be no shade except His. 1. The just ruler. 2. A young man who grows up worshipping his Lord. 3. A man whose heart is attached to the masajid, to the mosques. 4. 2 men who love one another for the sake of Allah and meet and part on that basis. A man who's called by a woman of rank and beauty and says, I fear Allah. A man who gives in charity and conceals it so as such that to the extent that his left hand does not know what his right hand gives. And finally, a man who remembers Allah when he's alone and he or his eyes fill up with tears. So these are the 7 that the Prophet ﷺ told us that they will be in Allah's shade. But what do we mean by Allah's shade? The scholars, the majority of them say that when looking at other hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, we understand that Allah's shade refers to the shade of His throne, which is the most magnificent of His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the shade is of the throne. And these 7, are they only limited to describing men? Or are females as also included? Scholars say that 2 of them are only for men. And that is a just ruler and a man whose heart is attached to the masjids. A just ruler, because rulers can only be men. A woman cannot lead a prayer. A woman cannot assume a position where she becomes a judge or has ruling over others. She cannot assume a position of the president of the state, because this is only limited to males. And a man whose heart is attached to the masjids, we all know that women are highly recommended to pray in their homes. Though they can pray in the masjids, But the Prophet told us ﷺ, that them praying in their homes is far greater and far better for their reward. So, are we among those who Allah Azza wa Jal would put them in the shade of His throne? We will, InshaALLah, discuss this in the coming episodes. So, bear with us until we meet again. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.